In my last podcast, which morphed into my last masterclass, I mentioned that love is the glue that binds us together. And I've been thinking about this ever since. Not just any love, but that love that you have for your family. And some people may argue they don't have love for their family. But there is something akin to love that binds family members together. People who are estranged from their parents, from a father or a mother, still feel that draw towards them, either painfully or not. Brothers and sisters who may be estranged from each other still have that sibling on their mind from time to time. And no matter how much we might think in the negative case about the pain and suffering that has been caused by a parent or by a brother or a sister, there's still something that glues us to them. We may decide to wipe them from our lives, to ignore them, to ostracize them. But still, that glue is still there. It's a very deep and strong and sometimes painful attraction in the negative. In the positive, it is something that keeps us together. The trials and tribulations that we go through as families. I remember writing a letter to my father once which I never gave him, mind you. It was one of those cathartic things where I said, if you were not my father, I would have nothing to do with you. And still, 15 years later, I was still looking after him and doing things for him and still getting abused. But that's the point. If he was not my father, I would have had nothing to do with him. If he was some guy down the road, someone I met that turned and showed their ugly side and treated me as my father has treated me, I would have nothing to do with them. But with my father, I persevered for many years. In the long run, for the last couple of years of his life, I didn't have anything to do with him. It was too emotionally... It was too abusive for me. And I still made sure that he was looked after behind the scenes. And when he was on his deathbed, and I remembered that I said that I just had to cut him out of my life. I didn't go to see him. Still made sure he was looked after. But then, despite the fact that I very bravely made that decision back then, 2 years later, I still feel glued to him. Yeah, I don't think I regret the decision that I made, but in some ways I wish that I had been able to see beyond the pain and see beyond the abuse and understand that he was just an old man who was never going to change his ways, but he was still my dad. Yeah. So what is that glue that holds us together? I call it family love. Maybe it's in our DNA. Yeah. On a positive side, with your partner, your wife or your husband, it's that love that is created between two people, be it a chemical hormonal response or being something etheric that is more spiritual. That's what keeps us together when the other person is driving us almost insane. If you're a couple that have never actually felt that you were driving each other insane, well done. But in the long run, at some stage, you're going to disagree. You're going to feel, oh my God, who is this person? But why don't you walk away? Why do you... Well, you do walk away eventually in some circumstances. We've all done that, I'm sure. But, it's not after a lot of soul searching that you actually leave someone that you love. It takes a lot. And I think it's this glue. I'm calling it glue. That binds us together. There's a reason for that. With families, we don't choose our family. You instance of divine consciousness. Don't choose your family, but before you become this point of divine consciousness, there is good reason to believe that we do choose our parents, and in consequence of that, choose our brothers and sisters. When it comes to choosing a partner, is there some agreement made in the ether to come back or to come and have a soul contract with someone to work a few things through? Yeah, possible. I've never found evidence of it, and I do know people that I know well that believe that this is true, but I've never actually found any concrete evidence of it in all of the healing sessions that I've done, where people have gone back to past lives or gone between lives or gone down the ancestral lines. I've never actually had an instance where someone has had a relationship in a past life where that has now become a family member, or they're having a relationship in this life. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but what I am saying is I have no evidence in my experience with all the clients that I've worked with over the last 8 years, never had an instance of that happening, which is interesting because I've done a lot of sessions and you would have expected that to have come up. So I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but I don't have evidence of it. And I do know people that believe that they are in this lifetime with a person to work out some karmic debt or an agreement, a soul agreement. That's okay. Maybe in a similar way that we are bound with this glue of love to our families, maybe we are bound with this glue of love that comes down the spiritual ancestral line. And it is an agreement that is valid through all time and space. Perhaps that's what it is. But it certainly does bind us to people where we can grow. We grow through the pain and the suffering and the trials and the tribulations. We grow through these. If it wasn't for the glue that bound us together, we'd probably walk away and not learn the lesson. Not learn what it is within us that is being refined by the fire of this painful experience. In all situations where there is disagreement or pain or suffering, it helps to ask, what's in this for me? What's the lesson? What's the lesson for me here? friend of mine the other day said, be curious. Be curious. Rather than reacting, be curious as to why. Why is this happening? What is it that is triggering within me that I need to feel like I need to react to this, that I need to have my say, that I need to say something when I probably could just, move on and let it go? Because everything that happens to you is really happening for you. To bring more enlightenment into your life. To bring more awareness into your life. To bring more consciousness into your life. So as you cruise through the Christmas season, think about the glue that binds you to people. Perhaps that glue becomes resolved when the issues between you become resolved and the agreement is concluded in a successful outcome. I'll say that again. Perhaps the glue is resolved when the agreement between you is resolved to a successful outcome. And I'll leave you with that thought. With much love, much grace and happiness. Be well. Thank you.